Hello and good morning, my good people of YouTube land. It's Elvin Wave coming back at you with another video update. And without further ado, let's just get straight to business. We don't have time to be goofing around or, wasting any time. So what we're looking at here is a golden pig that is found at Pike's Place Market. You probably saw it in some of my other videos. It's a topic of concern because, well, first of all, there's a video by a group called World Order, I believe, a Chinese group that has a video called Let's Start World War III, and they showcase this pig in that video. Here's a little sample clip from that video. You can see it says, "We will make America proud again." This video is very disturbing. It's got a lot of things in it that I just find terribly disturbing, the messaging. Here we can see them holding up the 1111s. In other videos, parts of the video, they're holding up threes, like the 3666 kind of symbolism. I suppose that could be representing World War III too, but what you got there is a 6 times 3, 666. That's how I pretty much know what that symbol to mean. Okay, and now we can see these yahoos out here dancing around with the Transformer, Decepticon, if anyone remembers what Transformer is. I know I sure do. I grew up watching that stuff. They had Optimus Prime and Starscream and Megatron and Allspark, which was a black cube, and they were supposed to have come from space to wipe us out, something like that. Anyway, it really makes me think of this this black cube, and one person had commented on those blocks in Seattle as the Merkel blocking, which is supposed to be the black cube. Also found it interesting, I guess apparently Merkel, and we've got Angela Merkel, I guess that means black? Interesting. I did not know that. Anyhow, here we're looking at some black cubes, and I knew we had one in Madison Square Garden, but I didn't know that there were more than, well, there's just a lot of black cubes out there, like looking just like the Allspark from the Transformers. I find that very interesting. And what are they? Why do they have the Transformer in there? It's kind of weird. Another interesting tidbit of information is Ground Zero, where the towers used to be, are now these black cubes, and they're like in the shadow of Ground Zero. Very strange. Just definitely things that make you wonder, scratch your head, and go, what's that all about? Just don't know. Then, where the pig is located just happens to be at the Pike Place Market. And if any of you know anything about Albert Pike, he's a Freemason. He wrote the Morals and Dogma. He predicted the World Wars, all three of them. He was a top leader in the Ku Klux Klan. It's just, his history is just riddled with nothing good. And I'm kind of baffled as to why we would have a market named after him and streets and all sorts of different things. But it kind of goes back to that Mount Rainier, how we named it after a French general who was in opposition to the American people. So I guess I'm not really all that surprised, but it's just a coincidence that this pig is at Pike's Place Market. These Chinese guys have got a World War III video, Let's Start World War III, at Pike's Place Market with this pig. And to me, that's just not a coincidence. And we have another pig at Pike's Place Market. Okay, here's that other pig at Pike's Place Market, Pike Place Market. And I want you to take a look at that symbolism of the 1111 there. Pretty crazy. Okay, I don't know if you can see it here or not in that picture, but inside that pig there is a clock. It's kind of weird because Pike's Place Market has another clock up on their big signage board, and I just find it interesting that there's clocks, and there seems to be a real focus on timekeeping. And I don't know, what does that mean? What is the symbolism of the clock and the time? Or is it like, I don't know, a specific event? Who knows? But that's where my mind goes. What about you guys? What do you think? Okay, so we've got the two pigs at Pike Place Market, and that is weird. We've got the video. Let's start World War III. We've got the association to Albert Pike. These are all just really strange things, but it gets better. We have more pigs. And if you saw my video on the Seattle Police Department, guess what? They've got another pig that looks very similar. It's like this bronze golden pig. It's not the same pig, but it's definitely the same maker. And I'll tell you guys, when I saw that thing, it was at night and I was taking photos and I looked up and I saw that pig, it startled me big time. Here it is. I wonder if that's where they come up with the phrase, oh, I'll believe that when pigs fly. And apparently, I guess police stations are now have a thing for pigs, because here's another pig at a police station in Olympia, Washington. Right outside of the Olympia Police Department, we have this pig. Now, isn't that interesting? I couldn't believe it. I was just... Speaking of pigs, when pigs fly, I do believe that The Simpsons had a movie, the Simpsons movie, When Pigs Fly. And there was kind of a lot of big deal about that. Anyhow, built it within the last couple years. You can see their architecture's way far inferior to what we normally see for these types of buildings, these municipal administrative buildings. Anyhow, look at this pig. It's almost like he's smiling at you, grinning, like, you dumb shits. Or I'm sitting back to watch the show because it's about to pop off, kind of thing. I don't know. So then I asked the lady at the front counter, I said, this pig outside, has it been there long? I don't remember ever seeing it before. She said, no, it's only been here for the last little bit, maybe last couple, 6 months or so. I said, that's really interesting, only the last little 6 months or so, huh? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, gosh, did you know that the Seattle Police Department has a pig very similar to that too? And she said, no, I wasn't aware of that. And I said, yeah, I think it's kind of odd that these pigs are showing up at police stations. Isn't that weird to you? And she said, well, I guess I didn't know and I didn't really think about it. It's like, yeah, me neither. It's kind of odd though. And we went on, took these pictures, and I've just been scratching my head ever since. And that's why I've been compelled to put together this video about the 3 little piggies. Actually there's 4 pigs, because we got the one at Pike's Place that's, I don't know, it's not a bronze pig. It's not one of these golden pigs. I have to assume that these pigs are, I don't know, probably pretty expensive. I mean, these are highly crafted bronze pigs. They're not, I mean, in my opinion, there's nothing really beautiful about them. I mean, they kind of freak me out. They're scary to me for some reason. I don't know what the significance is behind them. In terms of like aesthetic value, for me, it's just not doing it for me. But the thing about the pig is that you start to look into it a little bit further, and there's just a lot of symbolism behind the pig. You know, we've got this Year of the Golden Pig, this Chinese New Year type of thing, 12-year cycle, and they say it's supposed to represent wealth and prosperity and abundance. And okay, yeah, there's that. I'm not really too sure about that, honestly, because there's a lot of evidence that points the other way when we look at symbolism about the pig. I mean, it's kind of a derogatory comment. You call like someone a pig, that means that they're a slob, or maybe, you know, overweight, or they're, you know, just whatever. It's a derogatory way to describe something. Pig-headed means you're just dumb, stupid, can't figure it out. You know, pigs are, they just consume, they roll in the mud, they stink. There's a lot of negative connotations to the pig, so I'm not sure I'm buying it, guys. What is this all about? So I started to look a little bit further, and this is some of the stuff I found. And of course, now we're going to segue to all things related to pigs. Now, this is a photo I took actually in the 1500 Jefferson building. It was on display. And I've confirmed this. This is actually on top of Jay Inslee's Governor Mansion. And I find that very interesting. That's on Capitol campus as well. I mean, on face value, it looks like a simple, innocent little pig, you know, a little compass spinner thing on top of a, you know, an old mansion. But I don't know, guys. Kind of weird place for it to be, honestly. Just a couple more fun little interesting tidbits of information to share with you guys here. Our favorite numbers, the 11s, 6s. You get the idea. Okay, everybody, now I believe it's time to segue into another aspect of the pig where we've seen predictive programming and in-your-face pigness. And here we go. The Simpsons. The Simpsons. With Mr. Luciferian pedophile Matt Groening himself, the High Master Freemason, who has a knack for predicting the future, by the way. Not only has this guy predicted the 9/11 attack, he has also predicted things like Donald Trump being the president, and this is like long time ago, long before he was president. He depicted that that election process to be against Hillary Clinton, and predicted, you know, there's predictive programming with 9/11 and all sorts of different things, guys. All sorts of different things. And I'm not going to waste your time talking about that today because you can go and it's out there. You can find that information. But one thing I'm going to talk about is the pig and the connection of the pig to the Simpsons. Now, this is one thing I always picked up on when I was watching the show. I grew up on this show. But I always thought Ralph Wiggum and Chief Wiggum bared the resemblance of a pig. And then here we've got the cop, the police officer, embracing the pig. It's just, and here's the pig out in front of the cop shop. What have we got going on here, guys? Is he trying to tell us something? I tend to believe that there's something to this. What do you guys think? Another thing I always noticed is they always depicted Chief Wiggum as the dumbest, most idiotic, piggish police officer I've ever seen in my life. He couldn't, you know, put together a crime scene if his life depended on it. And his son is like, you know, this, I don't know, just a total idiot in class, just doesn't know what's going on. They really cast these folks in a really negative light on the show, and it just kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, what's the connection? Are they making a connection to, I don't know, perhaps us as just being blind idiots, can't put anything together, wouldn't be able to figure it out? It's insulting. I know, I realize that that is a very insulting thing to think of, but can't help but wonder. I just really can't help but wonder. And just exactly what is it that Mr. Groening is trying to tell us through predictive programming around this pig, or these pigs, I should say. One other thing I'm kind of picking up on here is that the pig has an apple, which I know that's common, but this is Washington State, the apple state. Just saying. Pigs in space. Of course we've got pigs in space. You all remember that one, don't you? Jim Henson's Muppets. That was a cult classic, right? It seems that, and we got Miss Piggy. It seems that the pig has been placed into our predictive programming, I don't know, through the mainstream Hollywood television movies. It's everywhere. It really is everywhere. Now that I think of it, there's a lot of connotations to the pig. We've got some gematria studies and Illuminati symbolism that's coming up with the pig. I would be remiss in my duties if I didn't share this tidbit of information with you, but this is apparently the year of the pig as the Danghai of fire, which you can see the numbers there and what that represents. And of course, we've got Minecraft and just a bunch of other stuff that comes up on this topic that I was unaware of. How many Pink Floyd fans we got out there? They always have that pig flying around. As you can see by looking at their album cover here, and they've also got these twin towers looking very much like 1111 symbolism. We've got just, oh, the Lord of the Flies. Of course, we've got the Lord of the Flies, and the part that stuck out at me is they do not realize that the beast on the mountain, supposedly an external force of evil, is nothing to be feared, whereas what the sow's head on a stick represents humanity's internal wickedness is the true horror. Lord of the Flies, Beelzebub, is another name for Satan. Very interesting indeed. The pig's head is very symbolic in the Lord of the Flies. It is a symbol of the fine line between fact and fiction, fiction and fantasy. But not only that, it is also a symbol of chaos and evil. Symbolizes the power of evil and the evilness in boys and in humanity. The head is called Lord of the Flies, which is a translation of the word Beelzebub, name of the devil in the Bible. The Lord of the Flies is connected with the symbol of the pig, or rather the head of a pig. It is the prince of the devils and a symbolic dramatization of human evil. Pig symbolizes savageness. Pigs are animals and survive in the wild, but can humans survive in the wild? Well, the children on the island couldn't really contain their civilized selves and ended up starving, getting into fights, and 2 died. If they stayed any longer, they wouldn't survive. A few of the children decided to form their own tribe and painted their faces. Even though the pigs don't come up really much in the story, they play an important part in symbolism. Pigs represent the savage side that the children become. And this little clip here came out of a culinary book, and it kind of talks about how the pork is viewed in culinary studies, I believe, but I found this very interesting. Just a lot of really negative, actually, kind of things going on around this pig. You can see down here it says the symbolism of the pig and pork. And let us not forget about the story of the 3 little pigs. The 3 little pigs has been a favorite of children for quite some time. I admit it was a favorite of mine growing up. As a kid, I was taught that the moral of the story is to build a house of bricks so the wind can't destroy it. As you will see, that this is the interpretation for the masses, just like most other fairy tales. This story has an occult meaning. I knew this story had esoteric meaning. By the way, esoteric means secret, because Walt Disney made the story into a cartoon. If you're familiar with my other work, you know that Walt Disney was a very high degree Mason. Most people think that Masons go to 33rd degrees, but there are many more degrees. See Lemurian magic. The original story of the 3 little pigs was written by James Howell Phillips. James was very well connected with not only the Masons but Royal Society and Shakespeare Society. He was so connected that even Wikipedia has the exact longitude and latitude location for where he is buried. What was the true meaning of this innocent story by a very well-connected and wealthy scholar? When I first started on this piece, I thought that James had just used pigs and wolf out of the goodness Cirque myths. These are actually constellations, but doing work into this has uncovered what a true meaning of pigs and wolves are in a lot of myths, especially religious. Let's start with the pigs. If you are familiar with my magic post, you have seen this verse, Matthew 7:6. Do not give what is holy to dogs, and do not throw your pearls before swine, or they will trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. The pig is accounted by the Egyptians an abominable animal, and first, if any of them in passing by touch a pig, he goes into the river and dips himself forthwith in the water together with his garments, and then too swineherds, though they may be native Egyptians, unlike all others, do not enter any of the temples in Egypt, nor is any more willing to give his daughter in marriage to one of them, or to take a wife from among them. But the swineherds both give in marriage to one another and take from one another. I will let you in on a secret here. They're not talking about the animal, they are talking about the masses. In Herodotus' text, it is referring to the Upper Egyptians. I have shown in other posts the rivalry between the Upper and Lower Egypt. The Upper Egyptians were matriarchal and used the pig symbol. This did not mean anything bad. The Upper Egyptians loved nature, and it also had to do with the star constellations. The Lower Egyptians despised everything about the Upper Egyptians and made most of their customs evil. See patriarch pharaohs. Most of the Western world is run by Lower Egypt today. The Israelites are pure Lower Egyptian. The confusion in the sacred texts come from people taking them literally. Like most things in these texts, the swine and pig is symbolic. The main reason why Jews don't eat pork is because it was a sacred custom to eat pork for the Upper Egyptians. It had to do with a celebration to Osiris. The wolf represents the same thing that Set symbolized in Egypt, chaos. To the Upper Egyptians, Set was not evil. The Lower Egyptians made him evil. They did not understand that the Upper Egyptians saw chaos as bringing change, birth of a new era or time, so that to the Upper Egyptians, chaos or Set was not evil but necessity for growth. The wolf is chaos, and the wind that he blows represents your thoughts. Wind has always, in myths, represented thoughts or the mind. The first house built by the pigs is made of straw. Straw is representing the same thing as straw man represents. It is a common form argument based on giving the impression of refuting an opponent's argument while actually refuting an argument that was not advanced by the opponent. This is something that is done like crazy in the religious text, and it is called Pesher. Pesher is all about finding events in the past that are similar to those in the present and utilizing our lack of knowledge or understanding of those past events to conceal the present or divine in the future. So they take past events and put them in present or future events. The wolf being the chaos that causes you to wake up and think about how people have been deceived by Pesher. The straw house falling is you knowing about and not falling for Pesher anymore. As far as the masses go, this house is still standing strong. God dang, I can't even believe what I'm reading here. The second house was built with sticks. In original story, these are not just any sticks. They are furze sticks. Let's take a look at the furze, shall we? Here we see yet another plant grown in North Africa and Western Europe. If you have read Rapunzel, you know her name is actually a plant grown in North Africa and Western Europe, and hints at who the fairy tale is really about. While I was doing research on this story, I about fell out of my chair when I saw that furze is very closely related to the Planta genesta plant, better known as the broom. In the witch post I show you the symbolism of the broom really means. Here we have the furze broom and Rapunzel, all plants grown in northern Africa and Western Europe. Those that are familiar with my work know this is a code for true history of Mary Magdalene. See Rapunzel, the witch, and his royal Jesus. Again, if we have the wolf, which is chaos, that causes you to wake up, you begin to realize the true story of religion, mainly Christianity and religion, no longer controls your life. This is why the house is blown down. But as for the masses, this house is still standing very strong. The third house is built of bricks. The wolf huffs and puffs and cannot blow the house down. No matter how hard he blows, he cannot make the house fall. What is this symbolizing? In myths, building with bricks is usually symbolizing building wealth. This is not pointing to just any wealth. This is the wealth of the people who are actually controlling this world. As long as they see us as swine, and make no mistake, they see all of us as swine, they will laugh all the way to the bank. That is what the brick house is symbolizing. Individually, We can wake up to the deceiving and illusions of this world, but unless the masses wake up on a grand scale, they will continue to treat us like swine and make their fortunes off of us, just like they have from the very beginning. Quit giving your power away to made-up entities, sports heroes, and Hollywood stars. We are who we have been waiting for. Amen. I agree with this. Now, guys, does this ring true to you at all? Did you guys know that that's what the Little Three Pigs was about? Me neither. I had no idea. I'm starting to feel like I've been completely indoctrinated into some occultic shit. Just, I don't know. It goes back to, and of course, you all remember Pink Floyd. They've always got these big pigs flying around at their stage shows and everything. This is a cover of one of their albums. I forget. Oh, Animals. Go figure. We've got some Twin Towers. We've got some 1111, big time. I mean, 1111, 1111. Jeez, I can't. Sir, how many times can you even count them? And then we've got these columns across the center there, and I can't make it out, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 22, just like that Temple of Justice. 22 divided by 2 towers, you got 11. Just saying. Okay, guys, I kind of want to go off topic from the pig now and take a look at some of these blocks that I found on the Capitol campus. And this is just further testimony and proof as to what I'm claiming about 1111 in my opinion. Have you ever seen any blocks like that? It's pretty in your face, I think. And then even in the background of that picture, we've got 2 twin towers, basically 11s, standing up in the distance. It's crazy. Look at these things. Wow. You know, it's funny. I used to skateboard on these things, and it used to be a water fountain, a water feature. And yeah, I mean, we used to hang out on that thing all the time. Had no idea what it could possibly even be symbolizing. Yeah, this is something I've been looking at for probably almost 40 years, and I can't tell you. This is the first time I've ever noticed any symbolism in it, and it's kind of like I said, it's hidden in plain sight. You would never even know it's there unless you're looking for it, folks. But wow, is it there? Of course, you got this black flag. Of course, you got stuff like this. Of course, you got stuff like this, which when I saw it for the first time, I was like, God, what a dumb sculpture. There's 2 of them, actually, on far end of this whole lot, and I just thought it lacked inspiration big time. I mean, it's at the Seattle Science Center. They've got this huge, huge area covered with these 2 big slabs on the far ends with these pillar things going up. And I was thinking that's pretty weak. I mean, this is a science center. Where's the art? Like, what's this mean? Okay, whatever. Of course, you got 100 of these things everywhere. And then these were found in the Benaroya Hall, the underground metro tunnel. What's that telling? Okay, guys, now I'm going to show you some stuff I found in that Temple of Justice building the other day. And here we've got an article posted on their board, and on the board it says that the Temple of Justice administrative staff refuse, or they select what is put on this board, and they administer what is posted on this board, and it doesn't represent, they have this disclaimer, it doesn't represent the beliefs of the Temple of Justice or something like that, or the state of Washington, yada yada yada, disclaimer. However, they do have this article that they've chosen to put up there that is called Seattle Could Have a Rare Chance to See Mercury Cross the Sun. Now, isn't that just what we've been kind of talking about? And I don't know if you can see it, but it says, The planet's transit will be visible from most parts of the world on November 11th. Seattle often misses remarkable celestial events at this time of year due to the cloud over, but in this case, the National Weather Service says we may have clear skies. Isn't that something? So there's something to 1111. There's something to this Mercury transit, in my opinion. Why else would they post that? And this is on the building, guys, that has 1111 stamped on it and built into the architecture of the building. And then, okay, guys, it gets better. There's a lot of stuff in that building that is very symbolic and has just tons of like symbolism in there. But then I stumbled across this picture, and I think that this picture pretty much tells the story. What do you guys think? Now, this was some artwork that I found on display in there, and I found this to be very interesting indeed. Check this out. What is that saying to us? It's weird art. I don't know what. I don't know. Again, what do you guys think? Here's just some snapshots of the Temple of Justice. Very lavish, very lavish. Thought this was weird. We've got the Arguing Council. This is like some weird star pattern that lights up at night out there on the Capitol Campus Square. Very interesting, very interesting. Okay, this I promised from my last video where I said I had photos of the construction of these buildings. And this is found actually inside the building on the wall on display. And apparently this is the Temple of Justice, their construction project in 1921. Now get a load of this BS. What do you guys see? Bunch of mud, 2x4s and a ladder. Where's anyone working on the building? I don't see anyone working on the building. What's that? That looks like some 2x4s. The building's already built. Give me a break. What are they building here? You can see where the building was buried. They've just... Am I crazy here, guys? Oh, man. And then we've just had these state patrollers everywhere on campus. We got our pigs. We got our Tavali fountain. Choppers. 11s. More weird column stuff. Pigs. Pigs. It really takes me back to thinking about like the Phoenicians and phonetics. And why are we speaking phonetics? That's our tongue. And we've got in our tongue, we've got to spell, is, you know, to cast a spell, or to write in cursive, is it to write a curse? When we say hello, are we saying hell? You know, it's just we've been indoctrinated into this basically a cultic system, and we have no idea. And hopefully, I really do hope there is a mass awakening. Our vibration's starting to raise. We're starting to see through the fog. But will it be fast enough? Will the masses ever wake up? I mean, I'm having a hard time believing it, because here I have been busting my rump trying to bring awareness as much as I can. And the only thing that's happening is I'm getting shadow banned and copyright strikes and negative comments. Not all of you guys, but just people that are not wanting to hear it. They don't care. They would rather just carry on. They think that anyone who doesn't go along with the mainstream narrative is a conspiracy tinfoil hat wearing son of a gun, and that we're just off our rocker. And I mean, you can't see the forest or the trees, I guess. Just some really random stuff around all this, guys. It's really I guess I don't think it's random anymore. It's nothing random about it. I should take that back. It's random to me because I just can't even wrap my head around it. But when one really takes a minute to think about it, there's nothing random about this. It's totally everything. The plan, somebody's plan has been, you know, this is not a simple plan. This is a major thing to the point of people predicting the future. We even got the fabulous or the marvelous travels of Baron Trump and The Last President, which were published in the 1800s, guys, that refer to Mike Pence and Don and Baron Trump. How is that even possible? I don't know. Are they time travelers? Or did this guy Pike and Adam Weishaupt just have a big pipe dream and wrote it down and mode it shall be, as they say? Beats the living hell out of me. I'm at the point where I'm not sure how or if we'll ever know the answer until, I mean, someday we'll know. Guess we'll see. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I think there's a lot of credence to looking at the warning signs and putting ourselves in a situation where we may be out of harm's way as much as possible. And hopefully get enough awareness out there that, I don't know, hopefully we can make a difference somehow.